Hello and welcome to the in-depth demo for Kissmetrics put on by our product expert, Oscar. We're going to walk through a mainly SaaS-focused demo, but Oscar is also going to be covering some e-commerce examples so that you can see how both types of customer might use it. We'll be occasionally interrupting Oscar with questions so that this is a little bit more fun for all of us. And I hope you enjoy it. Okay, Oscar, take it away.
All right, thank you, Jen, for the introduction. So pretty much at a very high level, the way we track in Kissmetrics is based on the user cookies. And this is a great example. So this is one of our customers, Robin, and they already have implemented the JavaScript snippet code. So in order to identify ourselves and making sure that we are tracking people whenever they visit our site, we're going to go into the JS console and run this function, kn.i, and then we get the anonymous ID, which is QA, QY, something, something. It's just a string based on letters, numbers, and symbols. What this means is that whenever someone visits the site, it gets identified. So for instance, if Robin would like to run a report based on how many people visited the site, and then segment by, let's say, Mexico. I'm currently located in Mexico. Someone from Mexico will show up. However, as of right now, they just don't know who I am. They just know someone from Mexico visited their site. So now that we know that we're identified, what can we track and how do we track it? Well, there's three ways for us to track something. The first one is by literally just visiting the site. It could be, anywhere from the domain. If I refresh the site, I'll just count as one user doing a visit. The second way for us to track something is by clicking anything. It could be from a photo, a video, a button, or an icon, whatever the case may be. That's another action. And the third way for us to track something is by submitting a form. I'm pretty sure you have seen somewhere, in the websites that there's some pop-up that says, give us your email address, register, and get a 10% discount code. Assuming that I fill out this form and I click on send me the weekly updates, the moment I submit the form, the anonymous ID that we previously saw is going to get changed to Oscar at something, something, something. What this means is that Robin or any other of our customers will say, okay, this person who visited our site for X amount of time, viewed X amount of products, or did X amount of actions is actually this person. And that's pretty much at a high level on what do we track. And the way we track mainly works with the CSS selector. So pretty much we go to inspect, and then we check out the cursor, and then we just specify the form via the CSS selector, whether it's a class or an ID. Now, moving forward, let's jump into the platform itself. What you're looking at right now is the metrics feature. And the easiest way to explain it is you're looking at your top KPIs. These top KPIs are extremely customizable from scratch. Whatever you're seeing right now on the screen, you don't need to get attached to it. However, throughout the years, we've seen that these are great examples for SaaS. And as Chen mentioned, in some cases with e-commerce examples or customers. Now, if we take a look at some of the names, we've got total revenue, people who have completed onboarding, session over visitors, cancellations, or people who simply started onboarding, but somewhere among the steps drop off. We also have signups and total revenue. One of the key features that we have is that the idea in Kissmetrics is for our customers to work with different departments, let's say the finances, the marketing, the product team, or even important stakeholders. And let's say that they don't want to invest a lot of time utilizing Kissmetrics. So you can assign a color to each of the KPIs that you want for each specific team, and they can just come in and let's say I want to look at the green one, which is for let's say the marketing team, and then get their KPIs. Additionally to that, you can also change the time frame with multiple options that we have. And if it's the case that you want to add a new metric, well, you're free to do so. The next feature that we have is the dashboard feature. And here in Kissmetrics, we understood that data analytics is getting more and more important within companies. And the way to visualize data needs to be fast, clean, and neat, and obviously precise. So instead of building a report, switching to another one, whenever you're giving out a presentation to the stakeholders, we came up with the idea of creating a simple dashboard in which you can ping two different reports, which are the activity report and the funnel report. So we have these dashboards as marketing, and we got some visitors by campaign source. This data is getting updated daily, so you don't have to do anything. Pretty much all you have to do is set up the parameters to which we're going to be looking at further in the demo. And like I said, we're looking at two different types of reports, the activity and then a funnel report. And then we got an activity. So that's for the dashboard feature. Now, our next feature is the populations feature. And the easiest way to explain it is you're bucketing and segmenting users based on certain parameters / criteria you want them to meet. A very niche and high example could be a population based on the country. It could be, show me the people who have only visited from United States, Mexico, Germany, Italy, so on and so forth. However, one of the examples that I like to give a lot is at-risk users, because we understand that every single company has different parameters for at-risk users. So in this specific case, I'm going to click on this population, and we're going to wait for the data to load. However, if we take a look at the conditions, we have this population has people who match all of these conditions. They have not done the event use feature A at least one time in the last 20 days, and they have not done the event logged in at least one time in the last 30 days. And finally, they have done the event paid sign up at least one time in the last 60 days. So if we take a look at this, I'm just going to change the view right now. We're going to get a look at all the people who have meet these criteria, and we get a breakdown. So currently we have 2,998 people in this population, and then we can select the columns if we want to change them. However, I'm going to stick with what we have. So chapman@mail.com is the one that has done any event, and the last time visited the site was November 20 of 2022. And pretty much if we go back to the overview, we're going to have a nice clean summary of everything that is going on right now. So like I said, we currently have 2,998, and in the last 30 days, it has seen a decrease. So we are currently sitting in minus 2.5%, which is great, given that the criteria that we have for this specific population means that not a lot of people are, at risk of dropping out of the platform software and so on. So here in the middle of the screen, we have, like I said, the breakdown of the users. And then down here, we have some segmentation, either by channel, some campaign name, and KM landing page. And then down here, we got some top activity, which people running Kissmetrics can definitely come up and see what they've been doing the most. And let's move on to the reports. So currently the view that you're looking at right now is all of the reports that we have available in Kissmetrics. What I'm going to do right now is going to give a brief explanation of what each report does and probably give an example for each one of them. So the first one is the activity report. Think about one event in great detail. I want to know how many people visited the site and where are they coming from what country, from what continent, or even be more specific, from what city. The funnel report, I think the funnel is something that data analytics is shown across the board. However, we work a little bit different with the funnel report. And the reason why I'm saying that is that the funnel not necessarily needs to be 100% true. You can also add parameters, whether they did the event or they never did it. Do they have a property or they don't have a property? The cohort report is a selection of 2 events. And the answer to the question is, how much time did it took a visitor to do event 1, come back and do event 2? So a great example could be, how much time did it took a customer to visit my site, come back and make a purchase or sign in again to the software? The revenue report, self-explanatory. However, we are also going to be showing you a churn percentage and pretty much the revenue across either the week, the month, or even a year. The people search, similar to what you have on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, you're going to have a search box in which you can either type the anonymous ID, to which we previously saw in the demo, or pretty much just type the email address to search for a specific user, or similar to the populations feature, you're bucketing users based on certain criteria. A/B test report. We know that a lot of people are running A/B tests and they want to know what experiment is working the best. Let's say that this experiment will be for UX, UI changes. Well, we're going to be able to track your A/B test and give you the success of the experiment. The path report is a pre-funnel. That's the easiest way to explain it. And the reason why is that we've got customers that in some cases, they just don't know the user flow. And what the path report helps them out to do is you select 2 events. Let's say that you want to know people who visit the site, what path did they took that led to a purchase or led to a sign-in? Well, the path report is going to give you 15 different paths a user may take in order to convert to that specific event that you would like to know. The power report, I would say, is our most extensive, most detailed report. And the reason why is that it works as a pivot table. You select your columns, your rows, and it could be whether with properties or events, and pretty much it's going to give you a pivot table. Let's say that you can combine multiple events and multiple properties at the same time that maybe don't have any correlation between each other, but it will work out. And finally, we have the SQL report in which we're gonna be offering you a query console command, assuming that you have someone as a DBA within the company or someone that runs queries. They're gonna be able to jump in, ping the database more precise, and get some information. So I already have opened some of the reports that I would like you to see, and let's jump into it. So the first one that we have is the activity report. And as of right now, we have active users monthly. One of the things that I would like to mention right away is that any given saved population that you have, it can be applied to any of the reports. But for now, I'm not going to do that. So from top to bottom, what we have is the name of the report. You can either save it, export it as CSV, or run it. And then we have the configure events, in which you select the number of events that you would like to check out. And then we also have the time frame. I'm mentioning this because the UX UI across Kissmetrics is, let's say, the same. And the learning curve is extremely fast to learn. And we don't have very complicated things to select or to pull off from other places. Everything is going to be the same. So for this specific example, like I said, we're looking at active users monthly in the last 30 days, and we currently have 81,821 people who have done around 2.9 million times the event and 35 times 0.83 per person. Down here, you can select the time frame in which you would like to see the data be reflected, in this case, daily, weekly, or even monthly. Let's stick with weekly for now. We have 30 days, so we can throw some weeks in there. Let's just wait for this to load, and we'll jump into it. All right, so we're looking at weekly right now. And down here, I'm going to remove this for now. Here at Kissmetrics, we have something that is called segmentation, and that's one of the key features that we have. So for the activity report, let's say that your initial event is ground level and segmentation is just taken down, okay? So let's say I want to know people who visited my site. Okay, it was 81,000 people. Okay, now I want to know from what country are they coming from? Is it United States? Is it Canada? Is it United Kingdom, England, Scotland? Where are they coming from? All right, so let's just wait for this to load. And we got United States, United Kingdom, Canada, India, Australia, United Arab Emirates, South Africa, Ireland, and Nigeria. Let's stick with the United States. Let's say that out of all the cities that we have in the United States, from what city are people visiting the most? Is it LA, San Francisco, Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Miami, New York even? Let's just wait for this to load and let's see what we get. Okay, so we got New York, Chicago, and San Francisco as the top 3 cities in which people visited the most. So let's stick with New York. Now let's mix it up with some UTM parameters because we understand that marketers are deeply interested in how their ads are engaging. So let's say that we want the campaign name. So what campaign name made people from New York and United States to visit our site? Another thing worth mentioning is that any UTM parameter that you have currently through ads, you don't have to manually input anything. Kissmetrics is going to automatically analyze the URL and identify whether it's a name, a UTM name, a source, medium, so on and so forth. So we got some examples: social media bargain, social marketing tips, and end of your discount as our T3. So 13,000 people came through social media bargain. So pretty much we're working backwards, and we can visualize this as from bottom to top or top to bottom. So social marketing tips brought 13,000 people from the city of New York, from the country of the United States. And that is the activity report for you. Additionally, you can, if you want to visualize more in the graph, you can absolutely do that, save that, and like I said, ping that into a dashboard. The next report that I want to show you is the funnel report. And like I said, the UX UI is extremely the same. So we got the population selection, the name, the options, and the time frame. And let's take a look at the funnel report, just to go back to what I mentioned, that the report doesn't necessarily need to be 100% true. So we got the selection of has done event, but as you can see, you can specify whether the user has not done the event, or if they have a property or they don't have a property. Then you have the selection of the event, how many times, at most, exactly, or first time ever, and then the specification. You can also throw in a property just to add that extra layer of condition. Or if it's the case, you can also work with conditionals and parameters, in this case, the condition and or, whether to say, let's say that you have a A/B test and you want to know in the funnel whether people utilize feature A or feature B. So you can also work with that. So I'm going to run this report, and this is what we get. So I'm going to start on the right-hand side. We have a starting point of 56,000 people and only an endpoint of 4,581. That's an 8.2 conversion rate. In certain cases, obviously, the conversion may be too low, sometimes maybe too high. Obviously, for a funnel, we want to get the highest conversion rate that we can get. So we're going to stick with this example. So let's take a look at the funnel and the buckets itself. So ad campaign hit, like I said, we start with 56,000 people. However, one of the things that I want you to look at is that we can see view X people in this step or view X people that exited in the previous step. And this is extremely powerful for our customers because, like I said, assuming they submit a form, they sign in, they log in, you're going to have their email address. So let's just wait for this to load, and let's take a look at the people who were in this funnel. Okay, so now that we get the list, pretty much we can take a look at any of the users and jump into them. However, let's go back to the funnel. Similar to the activity report, you can segment, not as detailed, but you can also segment. In this case, we're segmented by campaign source, in which we have Google, LinkedIn, Facebook. Assuming that you're also working with Reddit, TikTok, 9gag, or any other platform as the campaign source, we're also going to be able to track it. We're not limited to a handful of examples though. So going back to the people that we got in this funnel, I'm going to jump a little bit into the people search, and it's pretty much what we got. Like I said, you can either type the identity search, the anonymous ID, or the email address, or pretty much do a group search in which we already have based on the funnel report that we just run. And let's take a look at the first user. Let's take a look at this specific person. And let's just wait for the data to load. Okay, so Bauer@yahoo.com was first seen 2 months ago and last seen 14 hours ago from the city of Chicago. One thing that I also want to mention is that because we work with cookies, our cookie expiration date is set to 5 years. That means that I can visit the site from, let's say, 2020, completely disappear and come back in 2023. And assuming we still have, where I still have the same cookies, no data is going to be lost. That applies the same to whenever we get the parsing from the anonymous ID to the email address, no previous anonymous data is lost. We're also going to be able to track it. So if we take a look at the left-hand side, we have the list of properties, the customer ID, some city, device type, country, continent, so on and so forth. We're also going to be able to work with the referrer and the channel or channel origin if you're also interested in that. So as of right now, this person was seen 2 months ago. And as we can see, we're taking a look at the different dates in which he, she did certain events. In this case, Bauer sometimes visits the site, sometimes he doesn't. However, one of the things that I want you to see is how do we work with the UTM parameters when someone clicks during an ad click. So for that, let's just wait for this to load. I'm currently selecting the event ad campaign hit. So let's take a look at October 13th. That's the first day that he clicked on an ad. And let's just find the event real quick after this loads. So on October 13, 2022 at 3:56 p.m., Bauer clicked on an ad. And whenever, like I said, someone clicks on an ad, Kissmetrics is going to automatically analyze the URL and break down the UTM parameters. So source, medium, and campaign name. And obviously, we're going to also show you some geographical values like you've seen. And during October 13, Bauer was still an anonymous ID. So down the line, probably the same day or the following days, he submitted the form. And from this string of numbers, letters, and symbols, he became Bauer@yahoo.com, right? So moving on to the next example is the path report. And like I said, is this selection of 2 events, and we're going to be able to show you the 15 most common paths a user may take. So in this case, we're looking at show me the last 5 most common events, starting with people who visited the site that leads to a paid sign up. And this happens this month to date. In this case, what we're saying is, regardless of what they did between these 2 events, just show me what was the most common actions among my users. So we have 76,000 people, 685 total conversions, 0.9 conversion rate, and 9 days overall time to convert. And let's stick with the 3 main paths that we currently have. So we got path 15, 20,000 people, 99 conversions, a conversion rate of 0.49%, and 74 seconds to convert, in which people visited the site, they logged in, and then they made a paid sign up. On path 14, we have 8,000 people, 25 conversions, a 0.29% conversion rate, and 11 days time to convert, which is extremely high, and we don't want that. Pretty much what we're looking at right now is that the moment they visited the site, they did 48 more actions, but they visited the site, they logged in, they visited the site, they logged in, they visited the site once again, and they finally decided to make a paid sign up. And for path 13, we have 7,000 people, 69, 0.95, and 9 days to convert, in which people visited the site, they did 43 more actions, and once again, they visited, logged in, logged out, visited, logged in, and finally made a paid sign up. And the last example that I would like to give you is the SQL report. Like I said, we're going to offer you a query console command in which you can run your queries. And let me just quickly run this report just for you to see what the data will look like. Okay, so based on this query that we have currently right now, we got the monthly active users, daily, and the ratio between the months of 8, 9, and 10, all the way to October. So the last thing that I want to show you is the live tab. So as we're currently seeing right now, this is live data coming into the platform of this specific account. And all of these are users, whether they're anonymous or already identified, doing a bunch of actions like visited site, making some search engine hit, visiting the site, and build sign up page. Now, for the last part of the demo, let's jump into the product settings, which is something that also needs to cover. What is the amount of engineering work that needs to be done in order to be able to install Kissmetrics up and running? Well, we're going to offer you the tracking API key, the global identifier, and then the JavaScript tracking code, in which you can literally just copy paste this into the header of the source code of your website. If you're working with something like WordPress or Google Tag Manager, we're also going to be able to work with that. But the idea is just to copy paste this into the source code, and you're going to be able to track people. Additionally, we also have some data integrations like MySQL, some CSV import filing, JSON, or Recordly. And if you're into email campaigns with MailChimp, you can send data to MailChimp or a CRM like HubSpot. And yeah, this is pretty much Kissmetrics. Like I said, the learning curve of the UX, UI, and the platform itself is extremely fast. We don't overcomplicate things. And thank you for joining this demo.
Thank you so much, Oscar. That was phenomenal. One thing I did want to mention is that you did an extraordinarily good job of explaining how we get data from websites. Now, every product is different, and that's actually part of why we have all of those integrations, because some products require more engineering work to get features and feature usage into Kissmetrics than others. And of course, we have professional services, or Oscar can give folks a hand figuring out how to set that up. But that was Kissmetrics in a nutshell. Thanks again, Oscar. And I'm going to stop recording now.